Y'all know what it is. Pushing Fanatize, you can see it in my eyes.
Holla, 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 holla,
Tell 'em holla, bruh.
holla, 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 holla,
Tell 'em holla, bruh.
You came with your homies, you gon' leave with
Damn,
them.
damn, damn.
But that model chick, yeah, I'm gon' leave with her.
Turn it.
Holla, 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 holla,
Tell 'em holla, bruh.
holla, 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 holla,
Tell 'em holla, bruh.
You came with your homies, you.
Okay, and with that, we're live with Brother John tonight. We're going to be talking about some interesting stuff related to ice fishing. We're not the guys that are out there trying to get those first videos on 2.5 inches ice. Those are 20 years ago for us. But we are going to be talking about ice shacks today, portable ice shanties, the flip over styles, and you want to talk about some bra moments. John and I in the early days with the OG portable shanty. We had one that was made out of a tin roof, plywood floor, 2 walls with hinges and pins, and it was a mobile operation, right?
It was about as not. It was just shy of a permanent shack.
Yeah. But it was
insane.
a couple of screwdriver and a hammer and about a half hour, and that thing was flat and in the back of a truck and on its way. And
Yeah.
we
But I
had
mean,
some.
hey, it was some innovation that we came up with to the thing made, and I think I bought the first design from somebody at Print Pack up in Rylander, and then it was kind of dilapidated, and you and I re-engineered a few things and made it a little bit better. But it was very insulated. I mean, we had a wood stove in it.
Yeah.
So I
We had
guess
some.
when your portable shack has a wood stove in it, I don't know how portable you are.
We had a big bra moment in it one time too with Mike here with one of these lead acid batteries right here. Remember that? It was up on a shelf, sitting up on a shelf, and John busted in the door to see what was going on inside the shack, and that thing fell right on my head, man. Right, and dang,
Yeah.
blood everywhere. Remember that?
It was bad. It was bad. We didn't stop fishing. I was like, "You're good, right? We're not leaving."
No, we did not leave the ice.
Well, we're you mentioned that we're not the kind of guys that are out on the early ice, early 1 to 4 inches anymore. But with today's temperatures, getting close to below zero, I'm pumped. I got the Frable Ice Pick Savers on for the live, and normally I probably would have been trying to drive my car on this ice when I was 19,
Yeah.
but not now.
So, John's done a ton of research on what the best portable shack is. Like I said in the last show, he's been sitting around waiting for this cold temperatures that are in the forecast here for the next couple of days. He's been waiting, so he's been looking, and we've assembled some stuff here, information about all the brands, all the top player brands, anyways, of flip over shacks, and want to talk a little bit about those with folks and talk about pros, cons. These are comparisons that are a lot like, Chevy versus Ford,
Yeah.
issues like that, right, John?
Yeah, people, fishermen they buy a product, I'm a Ford, I'm a Chevy guy, I'm a Dodge guy, I'm a Ford guy, I'm a Toyota guy. It's the same way with shacks. And when we go over them today, there's some differences and there's some obvious quality differences, but whatever you like, what fishermen like, you get used to it. You find a brand, you buy the clothing, it's a really good, the marketing is pretty incredible with the ice fishing world. And, somebody will say, I got a Frable, and the otter guy will say, I don't, you got to have an otter. I'd sell that right away. But they're all pretty nice. And we'll go over some of the features and some of the new things that are out there, because they've changed a lot. See, I had about 7 years off of fishing. So I noticed massive changes in the flip over shack market. So I thought we'd take a look at them today.
Yeah, no, this will be a great leave behind for folks. If you've got preferences, or if we don't cover something you guys are thinking about, throw a comment on there about what your favorite one is or what your favorite feature is. That would help us out Also, like and subscribe if you find this information useful. Forward it on. Like I said, when John sent me some of this information, I thought, man, all this in one place. This is pretty cool. So this will be left behind in this video to kind of do some comparison shopping of your own. We're not sponsored by any of these guys. We know a lot of pro staff guys, in just about every one of these brands. And there's a lot of brand loyalty out there in the fishing world, but we're coming at this from no sponsorship in any of these and kind of an objective look at what the features are of them. So with that, we'll talk about the major players, right, John?
Yeah, so there's really, 6 major players. Maybe you can find one I didn't, but these are the players that I could find out there: Clam, Otter, Eskimo, Frable, Ice Runner, and Chappelle. Coming back to Clam, I put them number 1. Basically, these are in no order, by the way, but a little bit by price point, perhaps. And Clam has been around. I mean, Dave Gens is, literally, I believe he may have even invented the flip over shack. So, that's a great company, big pro team, awesome customer service is kind of some of the things I wanted to mention about them. They have a ton of the accessories. So what you'll find when you're in the online forums and stuff is guys will have a Frable or an Otter or an Eskimo, and they'll have the Clam light, the Clam battery clip, the Clam hitch, So yeah, they have a lot of cool. They've been around a long time, so they have a big product line. I mean, when you look at their website, it's actually gets a little complicated to figure out what's what, because a lot of the other brands will get into it, lay them out kind of 1, 2, 3, 4. So next up is Otter. Otter is really first known for really cool quality sleds. Could be for hunting or hauling wood, or they were doing sleds before they ever did a shack, I believe. But they've got really great quality too. Excellent marketing team over at Otter. In my real world, I'm kind of in the product management side of things. So when I see a clean, simple, classy product line, that's what I think about when I see Otter stuff online.
I think I have an Otter sled, and like you said, their sleds are what they early became famous for. Was really, I think Otter is actually Nordic for best, right? The Otter sled, the best sled out there, right?
Yeah. And not to say, the others haven't upgraded those sleds to the roto mold sled like they have, but they were first with it, I think. So, really, really nice sleds.
Right.
Next up is kind of maybe the new kid. I mean, to me anyways, I think they changed their color schemes. Eskimo, they used to be green. Now they're a really cool red and black. I really think they're kind of the up and comer. I think they've probably taken some market share away from a lot of the people on this list. But they got a good balance of price and quality, some really cool high end stuff. And then their entry is a little more expensive than some of the others, but again, a good company. I believe a Canadian company, though. I believe. Frable come up next. Frable's been around forever. Frable makes all kinds. These ice savers, these ice picks, retractable. They make those. They make scoops. They make tip ups. They make everything.
Fishing nets, just about everything. Yeah.
Everything fishing and even open water fishing stuff. But they have a bunch of really cool looking shacks. They did a good job this year and last year with a camo shack. It's really cool looking. One of the coolest looking shacks is Frable. So again, a great company. We'll get into some of their models coming up. And then number 5, maybe some folks don't know about these guys. I ran into them before I kind of got my setup back going, as we talked about in the last live. I just had a car. So I was like, well, geez, what kind of shack can I get in that car? And what I found through all my research was this company called Ice Runner. They're very affordable. They're very light. They're claimed to fame as being light. So when we get to them, we'll get into talking about some of their stuff. But an interesting company, Ice Runner. It's a Minnesota company. And then last but not least is Chappelle. Some really nice shacks they have, and they've been around a long time too. If you think about it, Brian, we were running into Chappelle stuff. Yeah. I mean, they had some really neat kind of hard bottom shacks, and they were walled shacks, but they were foldable. But they're owned by Eagle Claw. I didn't know that. Found that out in this research. So marketing, they could take a lesson from the top, the other five probably. Kind of hard to find their shacks actually, especially online. I think they're in sports stores, or outdoor stores, but hard to find.
Yeah. So that's a high level overview of the major players, and now the meat and potatoes about this presentation for sure is coming up now. We've actually taken some time to assemble some price ranges and key options, and of course the names of them. And like you said before, John, Clam has been around. Dave Gens has been around forever. One of the inventors of this, and he's got 20 different flip over shacks.
He does.
They just got product city. So this is kind of cool that you can look through a catalog and finger through the prices, but kind of making some associations with what features a person might want to start comparing across that platform, right?
Yeah. I think, when you look at, and now you might find a different price. We should say that too. You could find a sale price. I know the Fleet Farm catalog came out. I didn't really see anything shockingly different than what I have here.
Yeah.
Except that you get $10 off right now at Fleet Farm and stuff. So, but you might find a different price. Okay, don't worry about it. It's just a range too. But if you look at Clam, they have basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's call it 8 product lineups. And ranging from $579 all the way up to $1679. That may be the most expensive shack. Now, keep in mind that $1679, I think it's a 4-man shack. So don't let that sticker shock there. That's a unique shack. I didn't see anyone else with that product in the market besides Clam, with a 4-man flip up where 2 guys sit on one side and it flips up traditionally, and then 2 guys are on the other side and that flips up and they all come together. That's really, really neat product. But they start out with their Legend series. I'll probably butcher is it Kenai?
Kenai, yep.
Kenai series. Those are their 1-mans. The differences there could be thermal or not. Most everything new is thermal now because that's one of the new innovations is thermal. Having a bigger door, a side door entry kind of an approach is something you'll see a pattern here. But they work their way through. They got the Nanook, the Yukon, the Voyager. And what I really think is pretty cool is this Jason Mitchell series. You'll see those. That's a camo looking. They had a snow camo and a regular camo look to it last year. It's fully loaded. You get stuff with it. You don't get a lot of extras with these shacks until you get to some of the Pro Series stuff. And what's funny is online, all the talking and all the chat rooms, everything is trick your trap. Yeah. They call it a trap, which is what Clam invented, was the fish trap.
Right.
So the first thing these ice fishermen do, they're extremely innovative, is they start adding cool things to the shack. Well, the Pro Series has a lot of that stuff. So interesting stuff here. 900 denier. 900 is pretty high. I mean, 600 is kind of the basic. 400 to 600 is the entry level type of stuff.
What was the highest you saw across all of them, John? Was it 900?
1200 okay. With the Otter Pro, and we'll get to that in the next slide. But that's, I think what they're finding is that you'll notice a difference. It's not all about this denier and this thread count and the filler. There's a waterproofing, a wicking that has to happen too to keep the heat in but let the moisture out, because it's wet heat, right? It's not like our
portable shack, right?
Portable shack with a wood stove. So what happens is you hit the side of the shack, it starts to rain on you. And so they went thermal first, and now there's actually, like, Eskimo has this kind of coating on the inside and the outside to help with waterproofing. So that's kind of a neat thing. So yeah, Clam, great range of products. I mean, it's going to cost you almost $600 to get into a shack. They do have the Kenai entry, I guess, is just under $400. So you can get in a 1-man for under $400 with Clam, and it's going to be a really, good sled, high sled, a little shorter sleds than some of the other guys, but a nice solid pull system. They've got some great options. Their new series is the X series, and there's some videos out there. It's really cool. But I mean, you're going to pay for what you get on quality, 1,100 almost, you're getting close to $2,000.
Right. And like you said before earlier, there's an army of blue guys out there. If you've got questions, you're going to find somebody who knows something about them. You had made a comment about some of their stuff getting too complex. What were you thinking there?
Well, when you go to the website and you start looking around, it's like product proliferation. Whenever a company's around a long time, that's what happens. It's hard to retire the fish trap, right? Because that's famous. So
Right.
what they did in the X series was the X series is a copy. It's the Pro Series copy of all the legends. So in my eyes, it's maybe they're a year away from retiring something like the Kenai, or it just was complicated. It was hard to know what's the newest thing, where some of the other guys are very simple. But then again, they haven't been doing this for as long as Clam either.
Right. So Clam, can't go wrong. You're going to pay a little more for some of the professional series components, but great company.
Yeah.
Like I said, the founder, the legend, Dave Gens, and
20 different flip over shacks. You can get.
It's pretty incredible when you think about it.
Yeah.
Next one, Otter.
Yeah, they're a strong. You could say 1A, 1B. Like I said, we're not going to get into the Ford, Chevy, Dodge thing, but
Right.
Great product, super clean product line. They only show you what they want to sell. They will actually, it looks like, they've got someone running their product management team that's saying, look, that one's retired. This one's replaced with this. Here's the reasons why. And a lot of it's about their fabric technology. I think they realized, hey, you can stick around 600 denier if you've got the coating right. So they've got this inner and outer fabric technology that is, pretty good. And you'll see Otter actually when we get to the pop-ups in another bra moments what we do. You'll see that they have taken the that section, the pop-up segment, by storm. They have probably the best pop-up. So, but yeah, back to the shacks. Rotomold sleds, great pole design, big fishable areas. They've also got a side entry. Their X-Over series. What X-Over means is that when you're in the shack, you can actually, with their quick release system, pull the pole away from the door to get more side door entry. So you can kind of come in and out without knocking over stuff. It used to be front door entry only. How do you get in there? People were kicking over the big buddy heater and knocking a transducer into the water or a locator into the hole. And
yeah.
So I think the big things are side door entry, trying to get a little lighter. I think people are trying to get a little bit lighter because these things can get pretty heavy. They're, especially the 2-man starts getting over 100 pounds. 80 pounds here. Can get up to, I think we're over 100 pounds on the 200. 145 pounds.
145 pounds, yeah.
The biggest one I think they have. So that gets to be where
That's like throwing your 16-year-old in the truck.
Exactly. Price point to enter, pretty close to the same. And then the ranges, you can tell they have these aren't just there's not just 3 shacks here. There's a couple different hideouts. There's 4 different X-Overs and there's 4 different Pros. So you're looking at broadcasting 10 to 12 shacks. I think they are too, the flip overs. A lot of good fishable area. One thing I'll say about the Otter and the Clam is that piece that flips over the front door, it's at an angle. I don't know the exact angle, but you can put something by the wall in front of you, like a heater or a bucket or whatever, but you can't put much up high because it slopes out. I don't know if that's 120 degrees, Brian, or what the angle. You're the engineer. You could probably tell me what the angle is. But it's Eskimo. You'll see in theirs. If you go back to the first page, maybe that'll show what I'm trying to talk about. So if you can do that. So you see how most of them have an angle, and it even, I think the Mitchell is the bottom one, right? Bottom left.
Yeah.
So there's this angle, and Otter's not as bad. Chappelle has a big angle. Frable straightened theirs out. But if you look at Eskimo, it's pretty much straight up and down, and that just makes for more fishable area. You could go stand there, and not hit your head. You'd have a hard time standing in the Mitchell right up by the door there.
Right.
So that's just one thing I thought was interesting about Eskimo. That's a little bit different. And if you look at Otter, they've straightened it out pretty good there too. All right, so Pro Series models. I mean, obviously, if you're like us, I mean, the one I'm going to be getting is going to be somebody's Pro Series. More thermal. They go up to 1,200 on the Thermaltech fabric. Plus, they've got the Easy Lock poles. I think they have done a great job with the poles and making it super easy because you don't just flip the one mans, you flip over and you're done.
Yeah.
The two mans, you flip it over and then you have to extend things and add sometimes you have to add some poles above you. So it's fast, but you still have to do it a few times to make sure you know what you're doing. On the one mans, it's just flip it over, flip it down. It's pretty easy.
Right.
I guess one thing to say too on all these shacks, putting them together, depending on your skill set, if you're an engineer or a carpenter or a mechanic, you're probably going to have an easier time than somebody that's running a keyboard all day and maybe isn't as mechanically inclined. A lot of people actually pay to have them put together
Really?
Yeah, because there's a piece around all of them that goes on around the fabric on the sled, and you got to use a heat gun sometimes or warm water, get it so that it works right. And if you're alone, it can be a little difficult to put together.
Sure.
Okay, next up is Eskimo. One of my favorites, just because I like their price points and their quality. Like they might have the best value balanced with quality, right? So I wouldn't say they're best in class, but they're getting there, and they make some really good improvements every year. I mean, they used to have their shacks, did not look good before. And They moved to a better color scheme. They got some heavy zippers now. They're vented. Kind of the same thing. They have what's called Fabric IQ, where they have some ability to let water go but keep the heat in. One would suppose it's pretty close to Gore-Tex, Brian. I don't know. Similar.
Yeah.
A similar theory. Eskimo was the first one to really, this wide one Inferno, they realized that the one-man shack, when they flip over, they're pretty narrow. And they have so you flip it over, and then you can extend the poles to give you a little more fishable room.
Yeah, on your feet. So
Yep. You can have your heater and maybe another hole, because it gets tight in a one-man to have two holes
right.
So they have the wide one, the Sierra, the Eskimo 2400, 2600, and the 2800. 2800 is, probably would be the one I would look for. If for me, that bottom row on all of them would be where I'd be looking. Just really good. Beautiful sleds. The interior is gray on a lot of them. And if you're not a guy cutting a hole trying to sight fish, the gray interior is nice because any light in the shack, and it just lightens up the whole room. It's just not as dark in there just to start with,
Yeah.
Not like it would hurt fishing, but like, how it is, Brian, when you're in there and you're like, man, is it dark in here? And you put up some LED lights. You don't need much in a gray shack.
Right. What's with their storm shield? Is that from exterior elements coming through?
Interior and exterior storm shield. So I was watching some videos, and it was raining on the ice, and there was all these brands, almost all of them were represented in a group of guys I watched on YouTube. And the only guys that weren't getting wet last year was people that had the Eskimo, and I think the Otter actually had some kind of a, or if they did their own waterproofing on the outside. Okay.
Yeah.
So, how often is it going to rain on you out there? I don't know. We've had it happen to us. But they have a unique, they branded it. You can tell, again, Eskimo has a good product management team. They have trade names, they have trademarks, they have new innovations every year. They do a good job that way. Again, they have clothes. All of these guys have clothes, hats,
Yeah.
All the apparel, all the stuff. And they're sold out. Here's another thing about all these shacks. A
Yeah.
line at the vendor, almost all of these are sold out.
Really.
At the big guys, the top three for sure. At stores, you can still find them, right? They had the
Yeah.
Minneapolis ice show here this last weekend. I'm sure you could buy shacks all day long there, but online, it was tough. Eskimo sold out on all these online.
Yeah. I noticed that with the show, I think. And then last night as I was on there, some stuff started to pop back on. So they might have cleared their online inventory for what they brought over to the show thinking they'd sell. And now when they got back, they popped some stuff back up. I noticed that last night.
It could be.
Frable.
Great, really good at marketing. A lot of other stuff, really cool colors. This Ice Hunter. So they cleared out all their stuff off the website of old shacks. They had other names before. And this Ice Hunter line they've had for a couple years now, but it's pretty nice. I mean, it's comparable for sure. I think their pole system is not quite as good as the others, but they have extras. They have some things like rod holders, and it's classic Frable. I mean, they take the time to make these, and they make scoops, and so they have like little nuanced ice fishing things that are done well, but really comfortable seats in the Frable. That's one thing guys talk about are the seats. I didn't touch on it too much, but Otter and Clam, very similar boat style, like bucket seat. The Frable is a little more padded, I think, even yet. Seem to be even a higher end, like maybe even a bass boat, Brian, like the seat in your boat, on and
Mm-hmm.
some of them, Eskimo took a different approach. It's more of a like this desk chair I'm on now. Really nice desk chair, has that weave, and then it's metal or aluminum frame.
Yeah.
That's how their seat is. It's very light. It's comfortable, but I don't know if it's as comfortable as sitting all day in a Clam or an Otter with that bucket seat like that. But people they have some really neat things going now. Frable has the same technology where you can move the seats front and back. You can push one up and out of the way. What's funny is we talked about weight. Every one of these shacks, the ice fishermen are adding weight to it. They're adding,
Yeah.
They put 3/4 inch plywood or, and they carpet it, and they have containers on the sleds. I mean, it's something to see. I'm just impressed with the innovation that ice fishermen come up with. So yeah, they have everything just like everyone else. They got a 1-man, a 2-man, insulated, non-insulated if you want, different price points. I mean, again, you're going to get into a shack, a 1-man for about $450. What's cool about Frable that none of the other guys have is if you've ever fished in a shack trying to get the zipper open on a cold day with your gloves on,
Yeah.
you're not doing it. You got to take your gloves off to get the zipper. Frable made a really cool, they call it, I think, did I miss the name on here? They have a cool name for it too. It's like glove ready zipper. It's like a big T-handle that you can grab with a glove on and zip it down.
Yeah. Super smart. Yeah.
Very smart. Now, I would say that for having so many products, they don't market their shacks as well, I don't think. When you go online and you look at it, they don't have a lot of the specs on weight and size on the website like the others do. That's why they're not here today. Every other one, because Brian, one of the big things is these shacks need to fit in your truck or your car.
Yeah. Right.
So some guys pick a shack based, not that they couldn't go to the $900 shack. They'll figure out that the 750 is the only thing that fits under their tonneau cover.
Right. Right.
So they go with the Ice Hunter Sidestep 200.
Yeah.
So you got to know the sizes, and they don't have them on there now. Maybe somewhere online you can find it, but on their website, I didn't see where I could see the shack sizes.
Probably not out in the, the product overview. I bet if you get into the product description, if you, 3 clicks later and, you're on the sales page.
Yeah. I mean, I looked pretty decently because once I started, I started putting in the sizes. I wanted to keep it consistent for everybody, and I had a tough time with theirs. So
okay,
these shacks look great. One of the coolest looking shacks. I always thought Frable stuff. I mean, they come up with the coolest tip ups. I mean, they have a good team that builds stuff for them. So yeah, another good brand.
This was an interesting one here, a new one for me.
Yeah, new for me too. This is the one I got last year. I got the Ice Runner Escape, and what's interesting about Ice Runner is, how do you enter this market, right?
Yeah.
Like they're pretty new, right? I want to say that they're in the 2012, 13, 14. They're new, and I picked up the Escape. It's rear door entry, so you go in through the sled on all these shacks. That's one of their big claims to fame, is that was a problem before the other shack said, okay, no one wants to come in the front door, we'll put a side door on them.
Okay.
Well, then the side door entry really kind of evened the score. So
That, and they tried to throw one of those other shacks in the truck by themselves, right? Because weight was an issue, or an angle that they took for some innovation, right?
They did. They went, we're going to go light. So they have a shallower sled. It's still a strong sled, but it's shallower. The pull system's lighter. Almost their biggest strength, being light, becomes their biggest weakness, because when you're out on the ice, if you don't have a lot of stuff in the sled, like in the one man, if you're coming in and out of the sled, you can't have a whole bunch of stuff in it.
Yeah.
So I found myself, I was out on Lake Dubay last year, and I was like, oh, this thing's going to blow away.
Yeah.
It's also very long. It has a ton of room, and there's a good video online about the Escape. I still think it was a great buy at, I think I got it for $279 last year on sale.
Yeah.
It's 600 denier. It's insulated. It's only 38 pounds. I can lift it myself and put it in the truck.
Yeah. And it fits in your truck.
Yeah, in the car. It fits in the car.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's a 60-inch. Is it 50 by 30? Let's see. The sled is
50 by 30.
4 inches long. So you can fit an auger in there. It comes with a cover. Every model comes with a zip cover. I think they just tried to throw in some things the other guys weren't doing with a lower price point. Now,
Yeah.
they also have this Versa hitch system for your four-wheeler and ATV, which is pretty cool, where you can add bucket holders. You can add storage containers. Kind of a neat, I think the guy that runs Ice Runner is, really listens to the fishermen. So if he hears people say that Otter doesn't have this, Clam doesn't have this, he tried to do it.
Yeah.
He's the first one, I think. His windows right away, all his windows are removable. Lifetime warranty. If you don't like them, send them back. He'll send you a new window. He's got, even his lowest end is insulated. The one I got, Escape, insulated. It's warm. You saw it, Brian. There's a lot of room in there too. So yeah, a neat company. They have a 1-man, a 2-man. They have a 3-man. Actually, the Escape and the Explorer, it's the same sled. They just turned it the other way.
Okay.
So if you think about how most 2-mans go, it's the width of the sled, and then it goes, off from the width. They just flipped the sled around and went the long way with the Escape. It's the same sled, which is new, and I like, and it's tall, but it's different. It's big, it's tall, it's a wind sail out there. You have to be careful.
Right. Better get those anchored down, right?
You got to get an anchor down. So yeah, a neat company. I mean, you can get in. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that Escape if you want to get in for, I had late in the year last year, like I think after Christmas, I got it for $279.
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah.
Then the Chappelle.
Chappelle was the toughest slide to make because I couldn't find their website. I found a Chappelle website, but then I realized they have a whole different website for the shack. So it's interesting. The whole Eagle Claw Chappelle thing is interesting.
Yeah.
I did find information, very affordable, and I got to tell you, pretty good quality too. I've been in a bunch of these shacks before too, so even the old ones, Brian, if you remember, I mean, I think good friend of ours, rest in peace, Ozzy Virgil, he had a shack.
Ah, he did, yeah.
And it was the hard bottom because people were complaining about getting their wet feet, so it had a plastic bottom in it. You fished right through the sled.
Yeah.
If you remember that. But they have the FX. They have a 1-man, 2 1-mans, insulated, non-insulated, 600 denier. Their 1-man has a pretty good seat in it. good poles, good quality fabric. Here's the problem with Chappelle. It's almost like they don't want to sell these. They're so hard to find. They're hard to find. You can find them at stores, but on the website, it's interesting.
Yeah.
But they look like good quality. Now, I know on the Trick Your Trap Facebook page, guys that buy Chappelle's. I mean, you don't see them for sale much either.
Hmm.
Here's how I judge some products sometimes. If it's very popular on Facebook Market,
Yeah.
why is everybody selling it?
Right. They're either upgrading or they don't, or they're out of it, you know?
Yeah. And you don't see many of these for sale on Facebook Market. So
Yeah.
I think they do a good job. If they had Eskimo's marketing team, they'd probably move up the ladder, and look at the price points too.
Yeah. I was going to say, geez, they got they're high end at FX200i at 440.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had $500 to spend, are you going to get, what are you going to get?
Yeah. I think I mean, it's finding it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was in Fleet Farm though, right, Brian? I think it was.
I thought it was in that catalog. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll open it now. See, we got the.
Yeah. That might be the next episode, is what you actually want to buy out of that puppy.
Yeah. I think that, and maybe someone would say, "Hey, I don't know what you're talking about, John. I found the Chappelle stuff just fine, but on their website, it is interesting. I did find all this stuff eventually, but it wasn't easy, Yeah, I think I'm looking right now. I'll tell you here in a second as I page through there. But I mean, look at. I mean, cool colors. I mean, all kinds of extras. Here's the thing: like anything, you don't get everything you need when you buy a shack. You got to get the hitch. You got to buy, there's no lights unless you buy like I think one or two of the pro models have the lights and stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So doing all of that research that you did, let's say you had $600, where are you going to go? Which way would you go armed with the information that you just articulated? What are you going to get?
I'm going to save another $300 and get the Escape 2800. I think is what I would do. But so we'll put it back up there. I want to go through them once, if you can. For 600, let's go back and forth between the first three, Brian, once. Keep going. Yeah. So if you had 600, you're going to get a one man. So you're almost. You can get into the Nanook and probably not the thermal one. So an Otter, you can get into the,
You're getting a Thermal Tech 600 denier.
But you're not going to get a two-man.
But you're not getting a two-man. So you could get into a two-man with the
you
clam?
get into a two-man, a clam.
Two-man, the Nanook, okay.
Yeah, and then keep going Eskimo. I think you can get into a two-man with them. Yeah, you can get into a two-man Sierra, which is nice. Is a nice shack. I think you can get into it the rest of the way with $600. So I mean, I think for $600, I'm probably going to go with the clam. And you can get there. I'm probably going to go with a Nanook, the thermal, and maybe it's 629 is the thermal though. So maybe you need to shovel two more driveways for the guy who was in the neighborhoods to get the money. But yeah, honestly, for me or you, like what we do, you need $800 to $900. You to really get a good one that's not entry level. So, but they're great. I mean, here's the thing too. So you should know about every one of these. None of these come with Hyfax. What Hyfax are high density polyethylene strips that you put on the bottom of the sled.
Yeah.
If you're going to pull these, which you have to, right? It's a sled system. You need to have those Hyfax on there because these sleds, I don't know why, but they're not that strong on the runners. There's, depending on the sled side, there's 5, 6, 7, 8 runners. And you have to attach from the bottom in these high density polyethylene strips. They're called Hyfax. And you want to do that. This is important. You want to put those on before you put your shack together. When it's just the sled, put the Hyfax on. If you don't do that and you do it later, you can have problems with how the sled sits. Okay, it'll pull up the sled in one spot, or it'll be kind of cocked a little bit. You want to make sure that you don't have it put together. You put the Hyfax on first. With that said, there's a guy, Paul Kaufman, that is making the best in the market Hyfax, better than anybody on here. He's just a private guy on Trick Your Trap Facebook page, Paul Kaufman. They're extra thick. It's a different blend. It's tougher. Everybody's getting them. I mean, I saw him getting so much business on Facebook this year because, even the Hyfax is wearing out on these guys pulling them. Because if you watch our good friend Brent Sunby pull a shack from the pole to his truck, you know why you need to have Hyfax.
Toyota should give that guy a free truck for how he hammers stuff.
Yeah, it's extra protection. You spend $600, $700, $800, $900 on something, you don't want the sled wearing out, because here's the problem: when you wear a hole out in the corners or the runners, you're having to do like that plastic welding or buying a new sled, because it's tough. It's tough to deal with.
Right.
So that's kind of a make sure you do that. If you're just going to pull them by hand forever and you guys don't get a lot of snow, or you could probably get by with it. But if you're going to get these bigger ones that weigh 80, you run them in a 4-wheeler or a snowmobile, I think you definitely want to get the Hyfax.
Yeah.
And they sell them everywhere. They sell them at Fleet Farm. Most brands will go on any one of these shacks. It's just got to get the length right.
Cool. Cool. So to summarize,
it's a lot of players. I would say market share. You're fighting Clam. Probably is holding on to number one still, but I'm going to guess Otter and Eskimo are right on their tail, if not taking market share from them now. It's a 7-man field. I think, I don't think anybody has more than 30% market share. I can tell you that. I'll bet you 20, 22% market share, low 20s is probably the winner right now. So it's still, these other guys have a chance if they put more time into,
if they hired John as their marketing director.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's what it's about. I mean, look at you go on Clam's website and you look at the Pro Series, that series at the bottom. They have a great video. You don't even have to look at anything; just hit play, and then he introduces his team. Here's famous fisherman 1, famous fisherman 2, and they explain it. Gens talks about one of the shacks. I mean, it's a great lineup. Otter has a big pro team too, so you can tell it's 1, 2. Eskimo has some great stuff too. I think they spend some more time on clothes and that kind of thing. So but
comes such a long ways in 20 years. The innovations, like you said, ice fishermen are crazy innovative folks.
The way they trick out these traps, they call them, with wiring and carpeted, boat, like a boat. They've made the sled into a bass boat. It's got compartments, batteries. It's wired. They have lights on all around the sled. Just unbelievable what people do to them. I mean, you need another $400 just to trick your trap out when you're done. If you want to have it that way, So I mean, I guess the biggest innovations, if I was going to think back on what we said, was people wanted to have them be lighter. People wanted side door entry, even now backdoor entry. So like the Otter, the Pro Series on the Otter and the Clam, you can get in, because guys were saying, hey, I always got to go around to the front. Like I'm picking up tip ups or whatever. I want to just get into the back and put my tip ups in, or my auger or my propane tank. So that's a new feature on some of them, is that. And it's honestly the same players in the pop-up shack market too, pretty much. We might add a Fleet Farm's got a stream and lakes and streams or streams and lakes edition. Um, that's a really kind of affordable, economical, So, but yeah, it's a good group. I think I'm gonna be getting one of the Pro Series. I gotta still figure it out. Maybe we'll get a sponsorship out of this live, Brian.
Either that or be like, don't talk to that guy. He talked about my marketing. I think
And that's the thing. Like I said, Ford, Chevy, Dodge. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
it's a people love what they buy. I mean, or they don't.
Right.
So
But this was a great summary, John. A great compilation of features to put together in front of people all at one time so that they can see the prices for the features they're buying, compare them side by each. You could spend hours flipping back and forth online to piece it together. And there's options out there, good options. Like you said, they're going to buy it and be happy with it. And if they're not, you're going to see it on Marketplace.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, and here's another thing with these shacks, just to keep in mind is if you get one and your wives won't like this, or maybe if the wife is the fisherman, the husband won't like this, but you really got to get them up off the ground. You got to get them away from mice. I don't know what it is. I don't know if denier is in their DNA to eat, but they like to eat holes in these covers. So I lugged mine downstairs, and Holly's like, "What the heck are you doing?" And I said, I just got this. I'm not going to get it ruined." So a lot of people build those canoe lifts and stuff to put them up in the top of their garage.
My Kenai sat in a shed, a covered, locked, closed shed, and I had mouse holes eating through the side of my fabric.
Yeah, and they love it, man. I'd almost, the next innovation should be putting some molecule
mouse poison,
that stops them from eating it. But
yeah,
so yeah, that's the
cool.
deal. Hey, down here, ice. I think we're gonna have ice now. I think the snow. We didn't get as much snow as you, Brian. So
yeah,
I think we're gonna be okay. But what do you think up by you with this big snow again?
The big lakes are open still. The small lakes that had 2 to 4 inches now have 8 to 10 inches of snow on them or more. The further north you go, so it's going to be tough going. I think it's going to be wet for sure. Where there's safe ice, there's going to be slush now, almost for sure. But the good news is, like you were saying before the show, that the big lakes didn't freeze. Now it's going to get real cold, so maybe we get a good freeze on some of the bigger lakes before we get another big dump of snow, and that'd give us a good start. But all those people that you saw, every single one of those early ice, crappie, live scope, Panoptics videos you watched in the last 2 weeks, they were all up on waters up here between me and Michigan. And I would say a lot of that's going to be wet right now.
Yeah. And then I saw a lot of northern Minnesota, obviously, has 6 inches. I saw in Red Lake, they had 4-wheelers out there at a certain point. But I think that, it's going to be, we were worried about not getting on the ice because we've got these shuttles coming, right, from Tacti Grip. And the back order is like 10 weeks. And I was thinking to myself today, I was like, wow, maybe I won't even get on the ice till the But,
I think there'll be some opportunity maybe here. This cold snap will help. That wind blew it around a little bit, so we'll have to see where it end up. It's not going to be, 8 to 10 inches deep everywhere when the 40-mile-an-hour wind was whipping around. So we'll have to see where it ended up. Certainly where it piled up, it's going to be rough, slushy, tough going. But yeah, sure. I think between now and the holidays and between now and the new year, we'll be getting out.
Yeah, I'm hoping to, I'll wear these even when there's 2 feet of ice, just so because I got them this year. So, all right, well,
thanks for the yeoman's work on the information, John. I appreciate that. I know others will appreciate it too. We will get out and we will commence to more bra moments very, very soon.
All right. See you, buddy.
All right, man.
Take care.
Yep. All right, we'll popping John out here. I would like to take 1 second, say if you enjoyed this information, please like and subscribe. I'd like to pop up my sponsors, thank my great sponsors here, both local with Shoulders Marine and Sports Center and my national sponsors. They make it possible to bring the information to you. So until next time, we're going to get back out and create some more bro moments. Thanks for watching.